Happy Saturday, Charles.
And a Merry Christmas to you, Dan. I like the outfit there. That's
Thank you.
Very
yeah,
flattering.
I guess I should speak so that the camera switches to me. Oh, there we go. Yeah, here. You like my little elfin magic?
I do.
Yeah.
And I am wearing my custom made cat dad sweater.
Now, are those accurate colors for Harris?
Those are fairly. Oops, hold on. I got to.
Is he tan? I thought he was gray.
He's a mostly brown tabby.
Brown. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Brown tabby with white.
I recognize the face.
That is definitely the face he is known for making. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, ordered this and ordered it back in November, and it finally got here. And I did miss a couple of ugly Christmas sweater parties that I was considering going to because it didn't get here in time. But now I'll hold on to it and wear it next year.
To be honest with you, it's not really an ugly sweater. It's pretty decent looking.
I would say it's ugly in its quality and the fact that it's just kind of screen printed and not like yours is.
I like the design on it,
embroidered and stuff. But
yeah, well. I mean, yeah.
Like yours looks like
you don't have these nice squishy ears.
That's true. So yeah, you let me borrow your Black Santa hat, so I appreciate that. So I could look somewhat close to as festive as you. So I think we're adequately attired.
Yeah.
To discuss how to deal with the death in the family. No, we're not doing anything serious this week.
Merry New Year, as one of my fraternity brothers used to say.
Wow, he was a clever guy.
He was.
Was he the class clown?
He was.
Yeah.
He was. And well, yeah, for sure. Joe Mahofsky. Yeah. And trying to spell that last name, Dmochowski. Mahofsky.
Wow, sorry I didn't ask.
Yeah. Yeah. That was there was a little incident in the fraternity when somebody's trying to pronounce it at one point. So.
I'm sure there were many incidents involving Joe. Joe, you said?
Joe. Good old Joe.
Joe's listening to the show. We could use
yeah. He's actually a very accomplished lawyer now, believe it or not.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, he's a great guy.
You know what kind of law he practices?
I do not. I don't. I want to say it was like international for some reason. Or maybe he was just traveling a lot and telling me about it. It's been a while. Joe, hope you're well, buddy.
Yeah, you should catch up with him, Dan. And
yeah, it's been a while.
With the stuff we say, we'll need lawyers at some point. Probably make that connection.
Yeah. So
let's see. Anything going on we need to talk about?
Yeah. So I went through some of these activities. So I don't know if you can see that here. I got cupping.
We already did an episode about that.
We did it. All right. Well, I got fire cupping, acupuncture, TENS therapy, for tennis elbow, as well as for my arms falling asleep when I raise them above my head.
You and John McCain.
So the acupuncture, those look like little needles, but it feels like you're about to cramp up, like have a really bad Charles horse. And so
very formal.
Yes, very Charles. Very formal. But yeah, he puts it in and then it like twists a little bit, and then I feel like the Charlie horse just start to cramp up for like a second, right in that spot, isolated there, but then it kind of relaxes. So it's a weird, uncomfortable feeling, but I tell you what, man, it works. So he does the cupping first. I look like an octopus afterwards, like big red circles that like stick out.
Yeah, I remember I saw you the day you got it. They were pretty severe.
Yeah. But I tell you what, man, I had 3 treatments. I've been dealing with this tennis elbow and my arms falling asleep for over a year. I haven't done anything about it. 3rd therapy. I was in the gym today. It's already better.
Interesting.
Significantly better.
What exercises were kicking up your tennis elbow? Were there specific ones?
Yeah. So what he said was it was from an overly tight tricep, not a specific exercise, so to speak. I did. So my guess is I exacerbated it doing a certain exercise, and that was preacher curls. I felt like a real bad burning.
It's a big one for the ladies to look at while you're doing.
Yeah.
On that pad, getting them nice and big.
Yeah. But I felt like a really bad burning sensation because the weight was a little too heavy so I was going on more weight rather than reps, and I shouldn't have done that. I pushed through it. And ever since then, I noticed it significantly when I was actually filling my Berkey water filter. I raised my hand
yeah.
and I could feel it like in my elbow. And then ever since then, anytime I do anything really with this, that where I put a little bit of pressure on there, it was extremely painful. And just the third therapy session over the course of 2 weeks, it's already better. Between that, he would dig his elbow into, he like knows these pressure points, or these different areas. I'm not sure what they are, but tendons or whatever. But he would dig his elbow in and then move my arm in a certain way. Fucking painful as hell.
Really?
So really painful. He's like,
really
breathe through. He's like, he kept asking me, he's like, are you okay? You okay? Breathe through it. It was not relaxing at all.
Okay.
But it was effective.
All right.
Recovery in Lake Mary. This guy's great. Dr. Ho. He's unbelievable.
Dr. Ho at Recovery in Lake Mary.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
I want to go to some sort of acupuncture and try it out, but not what you're talking about.
Specifically for what?
Just so I can say that I've done it, so I can shit talk it on my podcast and like I want to go to the relaxing, comfortable version of it.
Is there?
I'd probably not.
Probably not. I
probably
can't.
Not.
They stuck him in like up in my traps.
Oh,
like that too.
Wow.
And then the muscle starts to twitch and twinge a lot.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds...
So it's
maybe
not super comfortable.
maybe acupressure would be better.
That is an option,
me,
right.
Where they just put the little pointy thing on you without sticking.
I mean,
it
maybe next time you've got some back issues or whatever, it might not be bad.
I have fixed my back issues with my brain. Dave.
Well, I'm just thinking maybe before you use your brain next time, you can try the
no. Standing in my camper all alone, talking to myself about the people I'm enraged at is the most effective therapy for making my back feel better. So I'm going to keep doing that.
Excellent.
It's it's a lot of fun. Let's see. There's something else I wanted to bring up with you. I can't remember what it was. If it comes back to me, then so be it.
Yeah.
No big deal. All right. So we're still in our Self-Care for Men by Garrett Muntz, and we are going to talk about at least one chapter today on exercise for the couch potato. Have you ever done the couch to 5K or one of those type?
I started one.
Yeah, I have.
I just never got off the couch. So
yeah, it's not easy. I mean, it does work you up to what you can handle, but those later weeks, man, they do get kind of tough.
So I looked at that, and it looked like it was, and from what I remember, it was like a straight line up in terms of increasing everything all the time, and I didn't like that. I instead did the other app that you told me about that we were doing, where you could bet on yourself.
Oh yeah, way better.
Way better. Yeah. Yes, way better. Those
give you some real light days.
Those five, right? So that I really liked that better because you would do a tough day and then the next a lot of miles, and then they'd drop it the next day or a day later, and it was only 4 workouts a week, and you couldn't go more than that, and so it would kind of go up and down, and progressively overall, you'd be increasing your mileage, but it gave you that break. And it seemed like there was some method to the madness, whereas that couch to 5K, it was just keep adding.
Yeah.
And so I was like, eh.
Yeah. So I'm going to read this from the perspective of somebody who's not sold on the fact that they should be doing any exercise or doesn't want to, and how you can get started. First, we're going to talk about the whys. And I guess these are benefits. I don't know that any of these just in an abstract way would get me to start working out, but I guess maybe some of them would. So, you can use exercise to control your weight, but we'll say right now that it is a very distant silver medal when it comes to a method for controlling how fat you are, right?
Yeah. I mean, compared to what you can do, the damage that you can do in the kitchen,
yes.
in the car,
in the drive-through,
at any of these holiday festivals that we're going, or events that you're going to. Yeah. I mean, you basically can smell something and gain more weight than you can, burn off from working out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That is the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
Not the worst. I'll take that back. But
there was one time not too long ago where I did 2.5 or 3 hours of walking around Disney in the middle of the summer. So I guess, this would have been 4 or 5 months ago at least. And I looked down on my Apple Watch and I burned like 450, 500 calories. And then on the drive home, I stopped and got a donut and gone.
Yeah.
Like everything that I did was pretty much gone after one donut. It's so, I mean, look, because, you know, we've talked about this. The threat used to be starving to death. The threat didn't used to be getting fat and dying of heart disease or diabetes. The threat used to be, I'm going to starve to death. So our bodies are maximized for holding on to those calories. And so, you know, if we had lived for 100,000 years and the big problem to look out for was, oh no, you might eat too much and die, then our metabolism would probably work in the reverse way. But it doesn't work that way.
Correct. Yeah.
And so
good point.
We are wired to store fat and store energy for when energy is not available. And as a result, you do not generally take on exercise as your primary method of weight control, unless if you're an ultra marathoner or you're spending as much time in the pool as Michael Phelps, then your eating does become secondary to your, as far as like the equation of what influences your metabolism.
Yeah.
The eating's going to be secondary to your physical activity. But most of us are not Michael Phelps, and most of us are not running, you know,
right. 99.99% of it.
Yes.
And the other thing you have to remember too is we get hungry. It's not just about like burning off those calories. That will cause your hunger hormones to, you know, go through the roof as well.
Right.
And I think, you know, from my understanding of how we used to live, we would go through different stages of being in ketosis, which suppresses appetite. We'd go through times where we're fasting, where we don't have access to food, which brings us into ketosis, which suppresses our appetite, right? So if we were out hunting and looking for food and everything else like that, we wouldn't have those hunger hormones going crazy. We wouldn't be as hungry because we'd be using the body fat that we've got stored for energy, right? And not and creating ketones that suppresses our appetite. These days, if you're not in ketosis and you're a sugar burner like most of us are, you're not going to be tapping into that stored fat. You're not going to have that hunger suppression. And so now exercise is going to cause you to eat more. Oh
yeah. Lifting certainly causes me to eat a lot more. That's why if I'm trying to cut weight, then all I can pretty much do is walk. Anything past walking makes me hungry.
We should do a little experiment and get ketosis, and then let's do some exercising and see if the hunger is as hard or as crazy as it was when we're not in ketosis. Just to kind of vet out my theory here that I just presented.
We could try that.
You know, so just a thought.
Yeah, I will. See how many eggs I need to eat if I'm in ketosis and lifting heavy, and see if I notice. Okay, I'm going through 12.5 eggs a day instead of just a half a dozen eggs a day.
I mean, we don't even start with lifting. We could just do morning walks and stuff and see how that
walks. I don't notice a big bump up in my. I can do 15,000 steps a day.
Wow.
And not get a lot hungrier.
Okay.
But it's when I start lifting that my belly says, okay, Charles, time to pack in the pounds.
Yeah, let's try it.
All right. So another benefit of exercising is helping prevent heart disease, because the more you work out your heart, the more efficient pump it becomes. And the more efficient pumping you get out of it, then the more it's going to be flowing the blood through your veins in a healthy way that's not slowed down by a bunch of tartar and plaque and yada, 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 right? Boosts energy. I don't know that I've ever really experienced that. The idea of, if you get up in the morning and have a real hard workout first thing in the morning, then you'll feel energized all day.
No, that doesn't happen to me. I need a nap. That does not happen to me. I need a nap before I can actually function.
I've read that's supposed to be the case a long time. The more you exercise, the more energy you have. That has not ever worked out for me.
I don't know if that's accurate, but I think like when I do the morning walks though, I feel like I do have more energy. And if I dial it back, if I'm conscious and intentional about not going too hard for too long in the gym, and I walk out of the gym feeling energized, I'm usually pretty good versus like leaving it all, going crazy in the gym. I think it just might be how intense you're working out that might be affecting the energy level,
Well, the next one is raising your mood. And when I was doing starting strength and I was, working through the novice progression, putting more weight on the bar every time I worked out, my mood would go really high if I just got a new PR on a lift.
Yeah.
But that was because I felt good about accomplishing something.
And that had nothing to do with the 10,000 milligrams of caffeine you were snorting at the time to get that done.
Is 800 milligrams. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'd be nuts. So, in case anybody doesn't know, Charles is not sensitive to caffeine at all.
No.
I'm the exact opposite. So.
I mean, I enjoy the effects of caffeine, but it takes a lot more to get me feeling those things than other people. And that was confirmed with my 23andMe, where it said, you know, it takes you 4 cups of coffee to feel like other people feel with 1 cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. And so
makes sense.
I'm pretty much hammering 4 cups of coffee about every morning.
Wow.
When I'm in my routine and I'm working from home and stuff, then usually I'll have my breakfast will be 4 cups of coffee, few eggs and a couple sausage patties, and I'll make like 2 pots of coffee a day if I'm working at home and I'm trying to get some stuff done.
2 pot? Like how much is in a pot?
No, I only do a 4-cup pot. So I don't.
So still 8 cups of.
Yeah, 8 cups.
Holy cow!
Yeah, and now what they call a cup is
8 ounces.
8 ounces.
Yeah.
But the mugs I use are not 8 ounces. The mugs I use are more like 12 or 14 ounces.
Okay.
So it doesn't feel like I'm drinking that many cups of coffee.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't think they even make 8-ounce mugs anymore.
No, probably not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
think anybody drinks 8 ounces of anything these days.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
it's a can of soda is 12.
Yeah, and a venti from Starbucks is 20.
Yeah.
And a Trenta is 30, which they only do iced beverages in a Trenta. You can't get a hot coffee.
Sounds like you've tried. You're rolling your eyes. You're like, God damn.
I hate these rules.
Yeah.
Okay, so promotes better sleep. Now I'm on the same page with them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
On days I work out or get a lot of steps in, I will sleep better and feel more like just crawling into bed after a strenuous day. It just feels so much better than if you're kind of just laying around all day and then, oh no, it's time to go to sleep. You know what I mean?
100%. There's a lot of meditation apps or get to sleep type of apps where they will walk you through flexing and squeezing your different muscles in your body to kind of simulate that same feeling. And I know every time I do that, I definitely sleep better as well.
Yeah. For me, all I have to do is put on an ASMR tape. Listen to me. ASMR video by this one gal that makes great ones on YouTube. Her name is Mad P, MADP ASMR, and I love her ASMR videos. I put one of those, and like literally less than 5 minutes, and I'm out. It's so great.
Amazing.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Exercise leads to better sex.
Uh-huh.
Now, the way I can see that being true is, yes, if you are, have some sort of cardio exercise regimen, then you are going to have better overall blood flow in your body. And blood flow is important.
And probably better stamina.
I was going to say that too. The other thing is, you can move your body over and over in a particular way for long periods of time without getting too tired and having to stop.
And erectile dysfunction is from lack of blood flow. So
that too,
let's, get that blood flowing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so now we're going to talk about some exercises for the gym phobic. Exercise number 1 for the gym phobic is get okay with going to the gym, because I mean, look, there are the resources you have available to you at a commercial gym. It's number 1, if you want to lift more weight, as always a concern of mine. Mm-hmm. I mean, science proves that you lift more weight in public than you do in private.
I believe it. Sure.
Absolutely.
It's accountability, just like everything else.
You're around other people doing the same thing as you. You're in public. So, you tend to try a little bit harder.
Social is important. Society and social pressure is important. Mm-hmm.
So, and part of getting over the being gym phobic is really internalizing the fact that nobody there cares about what you're up to or how much you're lifting or how you're lifting it. Everybody's there for themselves.
Yeah.
And, as a rookie gym goer, the first thing you think is, oh my gosh, they're going to look at me. They're going to judge me. They're going to think I'm lifting wrong, or they're going to think I'm not lifting enough. And I promise when I go to the gym, I don't notice or care what other people are doing unless they're doing it in some sort of loud or attention seeking manner. And then I roll my eyes, and I still would never say anything to somebody or, look at them. I would never have them catch me rolling my eyes at them, but I would just internally be like, oh boy, here we go.
I already have, so for me, when I see somebody in the gym, I'm not looking at their shape. I'm looking at them. Hey, you're like me. Like, we are both at the same gym.
Yeah.
We both enjoy working out. And no matter
even
what,
if we don't both enjoy working out, we both give a shit enough to be here instead of somewhere else.
Exactly.
And that's something to have in common with somebody.
Right. And I give respect to anybody who, dedicates their time and makes that effort to get into the gym. And another way to do this is, if you're gym phobic, I mean, some of these trainers are fairly inexpensive. Get a personal trainer that works at the gym and have them show you the exercises that you want to learn. You get confident. You learn how to use those machines. You realize, you've got a professional there kind of guiding you. And so you can kind of get introduced to the different areas, figure out where you're comfortable. There's so many ways you can that the gyms make it accessible for people who also are intimidated. There's so many different. There's classes, so you can go for yoga classes. There's bike classes. Yeah. I mean, you can go swimming. I think the most important thing is just you're doing something that you really enjoy.
Well, yeah.
Don't go there and want to start deadlifting if you hate weightlifting.
Right.
Do something you really enjoy that you're going to be excited about doing.
Yeah, I remember.
And start there.
Do you remember seeing those ads on? It was either on Sky Mall or one of those where there was like this machine you buy for like $10,000.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
You only had to work out for 5 minutes on this machine.
You were like sitting in this thing, right? And it was like you strapped to everything.
It was like rowing and bicycling at the same time, and it was like you just have to work out for 5 minutes and you'll get the same.
I remember
same benefits as if you worked out for an hour.
Yeah,
and I would see that and think, man, that's going to be a miserable fight. I'd rather do something I enjoy for an hour
100%.
than do something miserable and hard like that for 5 minutes. That's insane. Yeah. Like, who is this really appealing to?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
it's like doing like I think it's like a wind bike or whatever. It's like a huge, I forgot the name of the thing, but it's basically like what you just described, but it's this huge fan and it's a bike.
I've seen those. Yeah.
It's something anyway. And the idea is you go all out for like this high intensity interval training, sprints or whatever. And it's supposed to be really good for you, but it's I've seen people like basically puking left and right off of those things. And it's just, why?
Yeah. We were talking the other day about you were going to be doing some coaching with a kid. And, the first thing was if you want to get a kid or really any human started with any kind of physical activity, find what they enjoy and figure out a way for them to move their body while they do it.
Yeah.
And whether that's a sport that they like or whether, you can install a standing treadmill desk for somebody who likes playing video games or likes coding in his spare time.
Oh, there you go.
Just figure out a way to take something that somebody's already into or something, even if they're only into it a little bit, and make it even more fun for them so that they can move around a little bit while they do it. Instead of, I'm going to teach you how to like rowing when you've never been in a boat before. We shouldn't even call it exercise. It's movement. Really.
Right. That's what humans are meant to be doing all day long is moving around, not sitting around. And so that, they've shown actually showing that, getting up after every 45 minutes or an hour of sitting has been shown to be, incredibly beneficial. And just to like do like a little 5-minute walk around the block, walk to the mailbox, whatever that is. And that, a kind of a la Tiny Habits, once you start to do those things, you realize, oh, I really enjoy this. On some good days, you might do a little bit more. And then maybe it branches out and you start trying a different type of exercise or a different type of movement. But it's just important just to get moving and start with something you really love.
Yeah. And if you don't have something you really love, try a bunch of things and see what appeals to you.
Like going on a hike and maybe talking to somebody, have somebody you haven't caught up with in a while.
Yep.
Don't have a phone conversation as you're going for that walk.
Yeah.
And treadmills are so cheap. I just bought one the other day.
Oh yeah,
$400, and you can run on it. It elevates and comes down. I remember. I mean, you couldn't get something at home for like $1,000.
Yeah, like at Sears, they were like $1,500 for a treadmill with elevation.
And this one was a little bit more expensive. They had them for like $250 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I really feel like there's really no excuse to not be able to.
Yeah, and I mean the only excuse is I don't want to do it, and that's fine. You can have a season of your life where you're like, I'm not ready to get into this, but sooner or later you're going to start seeing the consequences of not being into it, and the longer you wait, the harder it gets to jump in. Speaking of stretching, which is the next topic, do you do any kind of flexibility training? Can you reach down and touch your toes?
I can.
I cannot, man. My hamstrings are so tight. And when I was a kid and I was taking Taekwondo, I was so flexible, and I've got none of that now.
It goes quick, just like the exercise endurance.
Yes.
I've
downloaded an app a few times that like has you stretch every morning. I've never used it.
Okay. So this same rule applies, right? Do stretches that you like first. Yeah. Start with that first, right? So I say don't go right into yoga. I had a friend, my buddy Ryan, who is becoming a yoga instructor. He ended up pulling his groin. He was out for like months because he went too hard too fast. The other thing too with yoga, it's static stretching. So if you're not warmed up, you should do the dynamic stretching. That's where you are not just holding a pose. You are actively moving things, right? So maybe you're doing some lunges. Maybe you're just doing some of just some of these. The static stuff is good after you're warmed up. So if you're going to do yoga, I would suggest doing some sort of cardio first, just 5 minutes, whatever, just get warm. And the same thing, I started when I became a primal health coach. They went through a lot of different primal stretches where you kind of like hang like a monkey from bars for your back.
It's good for your shoulders too.
For your shoulders. Squatting down, where as primitive humans, the way we used to poop without a bowl, we would literally just squat down. If you've ever seen the squatty potties type of thing where they raise your legs up, like that's the ideal position for us.
That's how we gave birth too.
Yeah, right. That's crazy.
I know. Back in the day, there was no laying in a hospital bed and having a doctor catch the baby. It was drop a baby just like you drop something else.
So I saw some of these, some of the they were like and my hips and my legs were not. And so I just got in the practice of, I wanted to be able to do a squat full, like down all the way. And I couldn't do it because of the way, how stiff I was, my hip flexors and my hamstrings. So I just practiced every single day after I had lifted. I would just grab a pole and just kind of hold myself and balance myself and let myself go down a little bit further every time and hold it for 30 seconds and then come back up. And it actually started to feel good. I started to kind of get addicted to it. Okay. And then I do some stretches now where you can crack your back. And I love that feeling. Yeah. And it's just from kind of pushing on a pole on one side of my chest, and then that stretch, and just 30 seconds, and you crack. That's kind of addictive, and I think that's maybe why everybody goes to chiropractors, is that it kind of does feel good after a while. So just like exercise, start with a stretch that doesn't bother you, that you actually enjoy, that you feel good, and maybe that's not touching your toes. Maybe it's the chest stretch. Maybe it's just this. There's another one where I can grab a pole and it just kind of stretches my shoulder and my bicep and my chest a little bit, and I just kind of hang like a monkey a little bit. It's fun and it feels good, and I don't crave bananas. So,
yeah, the only end goal that interests me with stretching though is being able to like reach down, like stand with my feet together and palms flat on the floor. I'd love to be able to do that.
What about squat down? Like, so when you're doing
squat already, let me see. Like I think I can do a full depth squat.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I can almost get my.
Yeah, that's good.
My butt to the ground, but not quite all the way.
Okay.
So my hip flexors have never been trouble. It's my hamstrings though. Like I'll show you. If I try to bend over, oops. Like
okay.
As far as I can go.
So what I've done with those is I've grabbed like a 10 or 25 pound weight in my hands, and I've just held it there and let that just kind of pull me down a little bit. Once in a while I get a nice little back crack from that as well.
Yeah, I could see that. I could use the whatever silly app I downloaded that's supposed to help me with this, but I install the app. It reminds me at 6 o'clock in the morning, time to stretch, dismiss, and I don't do it. But
I kind of ride the positive endorphin waves after I've done lifting, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna stretch for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or whatever that is, and I just count like 20 seconds per body part, whatever, and I do it that way, and it's still not quite enough.
Yeah.
But, I am going to get into some yoga at some point, so we should look
Yeah,
at that.
I'm going to try to see when we will be moving to Winter Garden. Next week.
That's right.
And there's probably a studio over there that'll do the 30-day new student special for $40 or $50 where you go as much as you want, and maybe I'll sign up for one of those and check it out.
I'd like to try out the goat yoga too.
All right. So it talks about walking. It says it recommends the 10,000 steps a day, but I've heard from a couple sources that's just kind of arbitrary. Have you heard about that?
I have heard it's arbitrary. Right.
I believe that translates to around 5 miles.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about like Way Better and Step Bet is they will use your wearable, like your Fitbit or your Apple Watch, and your goals will be calculated based on how much you're already walking. So it'll just stretch.
Great.
It'll stretch you a bit. It won't like say boom 10,000.
Perfect. Just gets you a little out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, and
Perfect.
so as you keep doing them week after week, if you keep meeting your goals, then it'll keep bumping up how many steps you're expected to do. And so I like those. I also like the accountability of putting a little bit of money on the table.
Yeah.
Get some skin in the game, and that'll get you out of bed at 9 or 10 o'clock to get some steps in when you don't really feel like it. That's another thing I'm looking forward to about being in Winter Garden. That area has good sidewalks. And cool stuff to walk to. Cool.
Yeah, we're about a mile via sidewalk to the downtown area.
Yeah, to Plant Street, where all the fun stuff is.
It's great.
So yeah, I could definitely see myself. And there's some cool little coffee shops. So every morning, just get up, put on the sneakers, and go walk to my morning coffee instead of just making it at my place.
I like it.
Or no, what's a better idea? Make the coffee at my place, then kill the whole 20-ounce travel mug on the walk to the coffee shop, and get another 20 ounces of coffee. I like that idea.
There you go.
All right, take the stairs. I usually take the stairs every time I can.
Yep.
Mostly out of convenience, because I hate having to push a button for an elevator and then waiting for it to get there. I'm too impatient. I'm a guy who will drive more miles out of the way to get somewhere than sitting in traffic for the shortest route, because I just get so impatient.
And that's
same thing.
I use a Steps app on my phone, and that's another reason to use an app and kind of track your steps. You'll find ways, consciously or subconsciously, to increase those steps. So it might be, I'm going to park a little further. I'm going to take the stairs. I want to make sure I get my steps in. It's easier for me. I really love it. Like if you just had a busy day and you look at your your app, and you're like, holy cow, I didn't realize I met my goal just from walking around doing basic things. Right. I didn't intentionally make it a workout to get these many steps.
Yeah.
It's kind of a nice feeling.
It is. Yeah. When you get surprised that you, on my Apple Watch, it shakes and makes displays.
Yeah. Little fireworks maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't that cute?
And, especially when you're not trying to do it and you just get surprised by it. That is a good feeling.
Yeah. It's like, hey.
When my client, my biggest client, has their convention every Memorial Day, there's a lot of running around helping them get set up and get ready. And usually those days, my watch will just start going off telling me, hey, you just made your goals. Like, wow. Sometimes I'll have like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. It's crazy.
Oh, that's great.
Body weight moves. Most experts recommend easy moves like push-ups, lunges, and squats. I would also add, if you can do them, pull-ups, chin-ups, and dips to those. Those are some of my favorites. I used to be much better at pull-ups and dips than I am now, but they can really improve the look of your arms and shoulders quick if you adopt a few of them every day and keep adding the number of how many you do every day.
You don't need no stinking gym.
When I was in high school, we did a lot of pull-ups and a lot of dips, and when you're in high school, you got all that test roaming around. It builds up your shoulders and your arms real fast. Bike riding, I enjoy bike riding. I'm not super into it. For me, just storing and transporting a bike is kind of counterproductive right now based on my lifestyle, but I don't have a problem with bike riding, and it is a good way to get your body moving. Just keep in mind, you have to cycle a lot of miles to equal a 1 mile walk or run, because it's a machine that makes traveling from point A to point B easier on you. And so you do have to do more of it than you would have to do if you were just walking or running.
Yeah, the funny thing, I enjoy bike riding, but for whatever reason, when I'm riding my bike around here, I am like already tired. I can walk and go to the same places over and over again, and I've got no problem with it. But for whatever reason, and I enjoy bike riding, I don't
just get bored of the
I'm
scenery.
bored. I mean,
bike.
I've only done it a handful of times, but it's like, okay, I've seen everything already. It's weird. I don't know. I don't know what that's about. But walking, it's the same route, literally over and over every day in a row, and I'm like, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm more. You know what it is? It could be partially I'm listening to a podcast or something else when I'm walking, and I'm not doing that when I'm biking.
Oh, that's probably a big deal.
Biking.
Yeah, that's probably a big part of it.
Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah.
To get a little extra.
Because it's generally recommended against putting in headphones while you're biking, right?
Yeah. You know, there's some good trails here, but some of them run real close to a road where you're crossing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't know.
Yeah. Interesting.
Crazy.
Okay, the last two things is get an app. There are tons of apps for tons of exercise programs and suggestions. No matter what it is you're into, whether it's running or swimming or biking or lifting or whatever, there are apps out there that will help give you workouts and help you log what you're doing, and also provide that feeling of streaks.
Yep.
Where you've like, okay, I've done this X number of days in a row. I don't want to break my streak. I mean, that is probably the only reason that I'm still not drinking alcohol is because I've started a streak. Yeah. I started a streak and I don't want the streak to end.
That's great.
And so, And then finally, yoga. Yoga's great. Yoga feels miserable in the moment if you're doing it hard. And that's, part of my mistake is whenever I do yoga, no matter how much they tell me, like, okay, just, here's the easy version. Take a break whenever you need to. I don't do that. I want to do every stretch exactly like the teacher does it every time.
Or one of the students that's been there for years, right?
Of course. Yeah, exactly. I compare myself, not to how I was yesterday, but I compare myself to the best person in the room and then feel like I have to keep up with them.
How's that strategy working out for you?
Oh, it's great. I'm thrilled. I'm really, really happy all the time. So, all right. Let's stop there for today. So that was our chapter on exercise and moving your body. And then we will go on to the next episode here shortly about detoxing. And boy, do I have things to say.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Dan. I will talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.